Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light.
Powered by Emery Allen. Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light. Welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in Covington, Louisiana. This is going to be an epic show. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. I was talking just a couple minutes ago to our guests, which we got the owners, the founders of Lit Outdoor Lighting, Melissa and Jonathan Kujawski. And I was talking to them. I'm like, I really am excited about this. I say I'm excited about every episode because that is true. I'm kind of a super fan of the show myself. But these guys are like living, in my opinion, they're living the American dream. And they're just like, they've literally got checklists and they're checking things off. Like, this is what we're going to do. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. So I'm kind of envious. They're working together as a husband and wife team, and they're doing really cool things. So excited to have Melissa and John Kujawski on. Again, they are the founders, the owners of Lit Outdoor Lighting. So we're going to have an awesome conversation of the growth that they've experienced over the last few years, and then kind of the roadmap, some of the things they've got planned coming up. It's really, really exciting. So if you're, like I said, looking to grow your outdoor lighting business, this is going to be a show for you. These guys are living proof of that. By the way, just a couple quick announcements. We've got next week, actually. Yeah, next week, June 1 through 3, I'm going to be in Dallas hanging out with the Redwoods landscape lighting team. So if you want to get into outdoor lighting, I mean, they're going to be literally doing like hands-on training for landscape lighting, permanent lighting. If you want to get trained on their products, you can come hang out in Dallas. I think it is free. It's free training. I'm going to be there the 2nd and 3rd helping out with some things, but it's June 1 through 3. So if you want to get a link to that, just shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, or you can just connect directly with the Redwoods team. I'll be there in Dallas next week. Also, July 10th, we got the second annual. Well, it's not the annual. I don't know. It's twice a year. The second time ever, Friday Fly-In. So this is for members of Landscape Lighting Secrets. It's Illuminati only. If you are in Landscape Lighting Secrets, you're invited to come to a mastermind here at my house. Last time we did it in the living room. If we have more people, we might have to go to a different venue. My house is not huge. So, but the plan is to have it in my living room again. It's a mastermind. It's free for all members of Landscape Lighting Secrets. So if you want to have an in-person meetup, get to network with others and have a little mastermind, get you in the hot seat, get you unstuck. We've got a really cool session planned. That's Friday, July 10th. And then finally, later on in the year, put it on your calendars, September 9th and 10th, here in Park City, Utah, we have the annual Secret Summit. This is, again, members only event, but this year is going to be a little bit different. We're inviting a select handful of vendors. These are our partners. We call them our partners. I don't have equity in their business. They don't have equity in mine, but our partners to kind of help, because I found out that some of our members don't even know about some of our vendors and some of the partner hookups. We have negotiated discounts with a lot of these vendors, saving you tens of thousands of dollars a year. So we're going to actually invite some vendors for a vendor day as well. So if you are a manufacturer, a industry provider, if you feel like you can add value to that event, reach out. We have an application that you can fill out to see if it might be a good fit for you to be there. It is application based only. And if you're a member of Landscape Lighting Secrets, make sure to check your email, look inside the content portal. You'll see the link to get registered for the annual Secret Summit. Again, in just a couple minutes, we're going to have Melissa and John Kujawski. These guys are awesome. I mean, seriously, the things that they've done in their business so far, and what they're planning on doing, I don't know. I love seeing when people take action, because the information is out there. There's lots of different ways to succeed, but these guys are like literally taking it serious, and they're changing their family's life in real time, and they're changing their legacy in real time. So I'm excited to pick their brain, see what's working in their business. Again, before we have them on, I got one other thing I want to talk about. So, quick question for you. What is an average client worth to you? Think about like who your ideal client avatar is. Okay. Think of the number that comes to mind. What is an average client worth to you? Think of that number and just put it in the back of your mind for a second. The other day I went to Costco, and I haven't been to Costco for probably 2 years. Okay. And I can't even remember why I went. I seriously can't remember, but I was there. And have you ever actually thought about what's happening when you go there? I mean, it's like a well orchestrated experience, right? But you walk in, you get your $1.50 hot dog. By the way, it's been $1.50, I swear, since the '90s. Like it's never changed the price. You got your cart full of things that you actually didn't even plan on buying, and you probably don't even need, but somehow you spent like $200. My Now I go in, it's like 500. It used to be 200, now it's 500. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, maybe not. But it's weird how that happens, right? And Costco knows what they're doing, right? But one of the things that I found out is Costco doesn't actually make a lot of margin on their products. I mean, how much money can you make on a $1.50 hot dog, right? They're not trying to get rich on selling hot dogs. They're not trying to get rich on selling paper towels. Bottle of water. I remember when I was buying like bottles of water by the pallet, it was like 9 cents a bottle. Like, how much money can you make on that? Well, the truth is, they don't make a lot of margin. They make very, very thin margins on their products, but they make a lot of their money on memberships. Okay. Memberships. And the memberships are only like, I think I pay like 120 a year, maybe 150, something like that, for like a corporate one. It's not that much money. So you're like, well, how do they even do that? Well, they've done the math. They know what their average member is worth to them. Okay. And they can absorb a lot of the costs of their products because they know that they're going to keep that member for a very long time. They're not worried about the profit that they're going to make on one transaction, on one Saturday visit. When you go spend $200, $500, they're not worried so much about that. They want to keep that as low as possible so that you stay in the ecosystem, so that you renew that membership. Okay. So why are we talking about Costco on lighting for profits? Okay. Well, I want you to think about how you are making decisions about acquiring customers. Okay. So, and let me explain what I mean. So, when most lighting business owners are thinking about getting more leads, the first thing you think about is like, well, how much does it cost? It's like, if I want to run Facebook ads, or how much is the SEO going to be, pay per click, whatever it is, and that makes sense. I mean, you want to know, like, what's the ROI? How long is it going to take to get your return on that investment? That makes sense. Um, but the challenge is you're thinking about the immediate ROI. Like, how much am I going to make so I can pay my truck payment? How much am I going to make so I can pay my mortgage? Right. And I'm not saying this as a place of judgment. I remember being in that same spot. That's real pressure. I'm not trying to minimize that, but that's also the challenge, because when you're in that position, you're in survival mode. Okay. And when you're in survival mode, you make survival decisions, and survival decisions will keep you surviving, right? They won't build you something. They won't build you what this legacy business, right? You'll stay stuck in survival mode and really never graduate to this thriving mode. Now, in order to get to the next level, the business owners that are actually crushing it, okay, they're making decisions not on the immediate ROI, but on the customer lifetime value. So you remember when I asked you at the beginning, like, what's your average client worth to you? In most scenarios, you might have thought, well, okay, my average deal is 8 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever the number is on that initial one, right? But that's not what I asked. I was like, what is that client worth to you? And I'm talking about the customer lifetime value, because they're a totally different number. In fact, when you look at when you do the math, an average customer doesn't just represent like one install. They represent that install, a maintenance agreement, an add-on. Maybe 6 months later, maybe they start with the front yard and then they add a few more lights to the front yard, and then 6 months later they do the backyard. Um, what about referrals? What about people that see you on that street, right? When you add all that up, that first customer that only initially gave you $8,000 to do their lighting, maybe a simple front yard lighting install, they might be worth 20, 25, 30, 40, even $50,000 over the life of that relationship. Okay. And by the way, then when you're ready to go pro and you can actually get a referral partner from them, like, hint, hint, like who their home builder is, pool builder, landscape architect, their interior designer, home automation company, then all of a sudden the lifetime value goes through the roof. And it's like, this is how you create an unfair advantage. Okay. So when you know what that number is, the actual lifetime value of your customers, now you have a different data point in which to make decisions. Okay. So now the whole conversation about how much you're willing to spend will change drastically. Have you guys heard of Dan Kennedy? Dan Kennedy is someone who he's honestly just like a marketing legend. He's this super old guy, so he's kind of hard to listen to. Like sometimes I read his stuff, I'm like, man, he just seems so old. But he's an actual marketing genius. Okay. And so he said the business that can afford to spend the most to acquire a customer will win the market. And I freaking love that quote. Um, because that doesn't mean that it's not the one with the best photos, not the one with the best designs. It's not the one with the most Instagram followers. It's the one who's done the math and is willing to bet on themselves long enough to let the machine pay off. Does that make sense? So when people say, well, how much should I spend on marketing? And they'll ask a generic question like, what percentage of revenue? The like textbook answer is like, well, spend between 5 and 10% of revenue. It's like, well, what is that number based on? Like, I don't have enough context to be able to give you the appropriate answer. Because if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to go from like 500K to $2 million, then you better be willing to spend a hell of a lot more than 5% of revenue on marketing. Like, I'm not talking 10% or even 15. I'm saying, what if you could spend 20 or 30% to acquire a customer? Like, is that crazy? Like, it might be, but it might not, right? Because it depends entirely on whether your back end is built to capture the value you're promising yourself. Okay. So this is what I want to talk about. There's really kind of, there's maybe more than this, but there's like three machines. There's marketing, sales, operations. Okay. And then finance is like this whole other bucket, but finance actually kind of oversees all of these because finance is injected into marketing and sales and operations. So let's just say there's these three buckets. And you've heard people say, well, which is more important, marketing or sales? Or, sales or operations. And I'm like, well, my ego side is like, well, my whole career, my whole life is built on sales. So sales is obviously the most important. Right. And then someone who's like really good at operations is like, it's operations. But the reality of it is like marketing is the most important because like you could have a really awesome, like badass marketing machine with kind of a poor salesperson, like running those leads, and they're still going to make sales because the marketing's so good. Whereas you could have like a really, really good, like just badass salesperson, but like the marketing sucks. So they don't get leads and then they're just sitting around. Right. And then obviously operations can't happen if you don't have sales. But I think the better, like maybe not question, but the better way to look at it is not which one's more important. It's just what's the order in which these machines matter the most, right? And it's actually the opposite. So you need leads, you need marketing to get sales, and you need sales to get operation, like installations, right? Well, this is where people screw up big time. They start with marketing because you need more leads, right? Well, the problem is you get more leads into this chaotic system and then you go bankrupt. You go broke because you've got this leaky bucket with all these holes and you're just putting all these leads in here and then they're falling out. And like, even if you do land a lead, it's probably not priced right. And even if it is priced right and you screw up the install and it takes you 2 days when it should have taken you one, then what was the point of even having a business anyway? Okay. So in my opinion, the sequence is actually the opposite of kind of importance. And it starts with operations. That means your pricing is locked in. You know your numbers, you know your margins, you know what a job actually costs to deliver. How many man hours does it take? You know you need to be profitable. Not what you think, what you know. Okay. So you can't be guessing on pricing. You can't be guessing on these things because really every lead you get before that is a potential disaster, right? And I see people charging 400 or 500 bucks a light, and they're like, "Man, I'm making really good money." But then again, if it takes them 3 days to install a 30 light system with three guys, you're likely still losing money, right? So you've got to get the operations down, like your pricing. You've got to get down, like how long, like what your efficiency is, all that. Then once that's down, you can move on to sales. Okay. Now the sales machine, this means a repeatable, structured process for every single conversation, really from that first call to the signed agreement, right? It means that you know how to handle objections, how to create urgency without being pushy, how to present options that lead to higher average tickets. Okay. This is how you build a sales machine. Then once you have like the operations and the sales machine, and those are like a well-oiled machine, then now you can move on to the marketing, right? And really pour the fuel on it with it. because now every dollar that you spend going into that system is actually going to convert. And you actually have this, back end system to feed it more referrals, more repeat business, all that. And that's how you build the customer lifetime value greater than just relying on like, well, how much can I spend to acquire an $8,000 job? Because it's not about the $8,000. It's about the customer lifetime value. That makes sense. Um, that's the sequence: operations, then sales, then marketing. So, um, I'm telling you guys, most of your competitors are still thinking about the hot dog. They're like, how do they do that? How do they do it for $1.50? That's crazy, right? Well, Costco's not making money on the $1.50 hot dog. They might even be losing money. I don't know the answer to that, but they're not making a lot of money on that thing, right? Um, you need to start thinking about the membership. You need to start playing that long game. So I want you to sit down, ask yourself these 3 questions. Okay. Number 1, do I know my customer lifetime value? Okay. And this is tricky because it's going to take some work to figure out what that is. Do I have a repeatable sales process that my whole team follows? And you might go, I am the sales team. No, not necessarily. Like your technicians should be selling as well. Your admin, your office manager, like they should be selling as well. And am I getting leads to a machine that can convert them, or am I just getting leads? And when you ask those questions, you're going to get certain answers. And then you need to spend time like dissecting that and putting a plan in place to solve those problems. If you guys get intentional on these things, I promise you, like you're going to see not just like um, incremental growth, like you're going to see exponential growth. This is the difference. This is how you go from getting like traction in your business, like, oh, cool, we're selling an extra job every once in a while, to like momentum, where like it blows up and you're like, holy cow, like one customer now equals 4 because we have all of these things on the back end. I'm talking systems to make sure that you get referrals, systems to make sure you get referral partners, systems to make sure you have upsells on lights, systems to get repeat business. Okay. This is how you maximize your lifetime value. And then you stop caring about what it costs to acquire a customer, and stop caring about what's more important, marketing or sales or operation. Who cares? What matters is that you have these 3 machines dialed in. Okay. And then once they are, then you put as much money as possible into the marketing machine, and it spits out profit on the other side of the operations machine. That's how you build a momentum style business. So that's it. I just wanted to get that rant over with. I hope that helps somebody. If it's confusing, reach out. We'll get on a call, especially if you guys are in Landscape Lighting Secrets. We can discuss that on one of the weekly calls that we do. Okay, so hey, speaking of lifetime value, another good way to increase your client lifetime value, stop settling for cheap, unreliable lamps that can ruin your projects and your reputation. Okay. Emery Allen's line of premium LED lamps deliver the performance, longevity, and color consistency your clients expect and deserve. Trusted by lighting designers and installers around the world, and backed by decades of lighting expertise. Don't settle for less. Upgrade your designs and installations today with Emery Allen. All you need to do is reach out, just email. Okay, write this down. Jackson, the letter L, Jackson L at emeryallen.com. And don't forget to mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. Get that discounted contractor price. Just email Jackson L at emeryallen.com. All right, so let's get our guest coming on. I told you guys this is going to be an awesome episode. We get to nerd out on growing a lighting business. So let's get the music going. Let's go. Please welcome to the show, Mr. and Mrs. I don't even know how to say that. John and Melissa Kujawski. What's up, guys?
Thanks. Hey.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
I know it's Mr., but is it Mrs. or Miss? I'm not sure.
Mrs. Yeah. I guess if you know they're married, it's Mrs. Miss either way, I think.
I forgot to pay attention to that in grade school.
Yeah, one of those things.
Well, thank you guys for joining me. I'm really excited about this because I said in the monologue, it's like I feel like you guys are living the American dream. Just from an outside perspective, I get to kind of see a little highlights and like see where you guys started and like see where you're moving, and then like just to see your excitement on like you building your family and your business together. So hopefully we can just kind of dissect some of that stuff and get into like what's good, what's bad, what's ugly. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool. I love it. Well, you guys have been on the show before, but for those that don't know who you are, do you want to just do like a quick introduction of who you are?
Obviously we're John and Melissa, but we have our company's called Lit Outdoor Lighting. We started together anyways about 4.5 years ago. We're down in Covington, Louisiana, which nobody's really ever heard of, but it's about an hour north of New Orleans. So we do have the big cities close by, which is nice. I don't know, we got 2 little kids, so family company. We stay busy for sure with our little ones in the business, really. I guess you sadly started it before I was involved, but really 4.5 years of all in.
All in 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Melissa I both worked in the field, first few years of it, learning the ropes of it, learning exactly what we wanted to do. And now we're evolving.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. Cause when you first started, was the plan to do it together, or was this just John's business originally?
It was actually really funny because we were working with our website team and then one of our marketing people now, and we had pictures from the very first install he did working out of the back of his pickup truck in Indiana, and then all the way to like now in our little fleet that we have and stuff. So it's funny to see the changes that have happened. But no, it was just him at first. We were up in Indiana. I worked at a hospital, and he kind of learned lighting from working with my cousin's business, who did landscaping, hardscapes, and a little bit of lighting. And then my cousin was actually selling his company. So John's like, you know what? I think I'm going to start my own business. I was like, you have fun with that. You good luck with that. I was kind of the negative one, to be honest, which is not normally me, but
I loved it. So
yeah. So he started it on his own, completely by himself, like solo. Everything.
So at that time, were you thinking, okay, I'm going to be the breadwinner? Like I'm going to pay the bills?
1,000,000%.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, you enjoy your hobby on the side.
She had a great job at a hospital working and all that stuff, but
we were going to be good. I was like, I'm not, I had the insurance, the things you have to think of as an adult that we don't want to think about, but I was like, no, I can't walk away from all that. You're crazy. So
it's interesting because people talk about building like a 10-year plan and doing all this stuff, but like, it's really hard to plan out much further than a couple of years because things change. Like you take a step forward and it reveals so much, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes ugly, but then all of a sudden that changes. So when did you decide that, okay, I could like work in this business too, and I'm not going to work at the hospital anymore?
Driving home from a vacation, actually, which I'm very like impulsive, I guess I would say, in those decisions. We were driving home from Florida from being on a trip, seeing family. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, so what do you think if we move to Louisiana now? He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I mean, I could maybe join the business, but I didn't want to do it where it snows. I'm like, it doesn't make sense for both of us to not work 5 months out of the year in the snow and not be able to install lights and be broke. So I'll do it, but let's move to Louisiana by my family. And he said, okay. And we literally listed our house, I think 48 hours later.
That was the whole conversation.
That was it. That was literally the conversation. I'm not exaggerating. That's how it went down. There was no extensive discussion about it. Or he's like, yeah, if you'll join me, he's like, let's move. So away we went.
Did you have a backup plan?
No, none whatsoever.
All in.
Just figure it'll work. We'll have to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with a backup plan is like it's a possibility. So, you don't really do plan A as good as you could because you're like, we always have plan B.
I guess we knew I could always go back to the hospital life and stuff. I didn't want to, I'm like, if we're going.
But one of the things that was really attractive when we moved down here and having Melissa all in and me as well, we had a common goal. We were dedicated. We're consistent. That's how we live our lives every day. So if we put all of our eggs into one basket, there was no way we could fail. Like we wouldn't let it fail. We're too committed.
It wasn't an option.
We're going to find a way either way. So that's where we're at now, and stuff continues to grow.
So, by the way, congrats. I saw we were behind. Okay, I know we just sent you we have the awards like recognition program in Landscape Lighting Secrets. So you guys earned your LMC. That was in December. Back in December, right? Yes,
he's been carrying that thing around.
Love that. Just like pull it out of the truck. Hey, what's up?
What did you mean this?
That's awesome.
You're so
It's so cool. I freaking love it. You guys earned it in December. We just barely shipped it to you. I think we're just behind on stuff, but had a backlog. But what does that represent? Like, what does that mean to you guys?
you know, when we first joined the program, and we both kind of looked at each other, and that was like a goal for us. You know, I mean, I know it's just a plaque, but it's like, hey, now we have this goal, like, let's go get it. And we dove in hard, and I mean, it means a lot. It means a lot of dedication, a lot of customers, a lot of happy customers.
Yeah, it was at the first summit. Yeah, we joined in July of 24, and the summit was that September. And you handed out, I don't know how many of them, 1 or 2 or something like that, to some people at that summit. And I was like, oh man, I looked at him, I was like, I want that. I was like, we got to get that. I don't know why. I was like, that was like a motivator right there. So kind of was always like hanging over our heads that like I knew that was like our first, goal. I don't know. To me, it means like we're actually a legit business now. I feel like in a way it's always felt like a hobby almost. I mean, it's our business and that's our income, and I get that, but it's always felt more of like a hobby on the sides for some reason still, and not like a career choice. And then you hit that and you're like, oh shoot, like we're doing something here now. It's real.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's like, whoa, this is legit.
Yeah. We should keep this going.
What were some of the, like, I remember having some of these conversations when you guys first joined. I mean, you guys were like all over the place, right? You got 2 young kids, and I'm like, so how are you guys doing this? Cause you guys started to get, traction pretty quick out of the gates. And I was like, I'm always intrigued. Like, so what are you doing different? Cause we have other people that aren't getting the results. Like, why are you? And you guys are like, well, we just, listen to the modules in between visits. And then I got to run home and pick up the kids. And then we listen to more and like do all this stuff. Like, what would you say, like, were some of those like differentiating factors that really helped you guys get traction quicker than most?
I think honestly, it is the dedication. That's really, it's not like there's a magic pill or a magic secret. It's just, you have to put the work in. I mean, like you said before, a lot of people, they want this or they want their business to succeed, but they have 10,000 excuses. I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, I'm tired. My, baby was up all night last night or whatever it may be. But in the day, like, too bad. You know what I mean? You kind of have to suck it up and put the grind in, at least in the beginning, to get things going. And I don't know, I mean, we wanted to learn every aspect of the business. It was new, it was exciting. So I feel like we just had that motivation out the gate. And like, we didn't have a backup plan. I said I was never going back to the hospital. I'm like, we're doing this, we're doing it, and it has to work. That's it. There was no backup. So we're like, there's not an option to let this fail. So it was, we're going to try every crazy thing we could think of to make it happen. I mean, we started out with yard signs and door tags. That was it. We didn't have any money to put anything in marketing. So that's how we got going.
It definitely didn't happen overnight either. I mean, like you're saying, the consistency with it, we'd lose a sale, we'd go back, we'd analyze that sale, we'd figure out what we did wrong. We'd go to the group and figure out what we did wrong. Or
I'd yell at him.
Yeah. We, go through, dissect it, and get it right the next time. And just like that with everything, whether there's a sale, an install, our pre-sales, there's a lot. There's always room to grow and improve. And we still stay committed and dedicated every day, every week.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What was the dynamic like early on? Were you guys doing the sales together? Were you doing the installs together? Like, what did that look like?
So I've pretty much always been like the behind the scenes person. Like I handle like the books and the computer side of things, the communication, the phone answering, all of that kind of stuff, like an office admin. And then he did the sales meetings solely. So I scheduled everything. He goes, handled all the meetings, and then we installed together. So we'd be on all the installs alone. We didn't hire until 2 years?
2 years ago now.
Only a year. Mike's been with us for a year and like 3 months, or a year and a half. Okay. So our first, I think we were alone for almost 3 years.
So when you guys were going through that, I mean, I guess Melissa, like you got 2 kids. I remember you're like, oh, I want to be home with them. I want to be able to pick them up, all that. How did you find time? Because I think, again, it's easier to find excuses, but you just avoided those somehow. How did you find time to work on the business while working in the business and being a mom?
So I think that's where, not that we lacked, but I think that's why things moved slower than maybe they could have, because it was hard. And honestly, it was at 2 a.m. I mean, I honestly did the books at pretty much between midnight and 1 a.m. all the time. Like that's when we worked on the business, was into the night, and then 5-6 hours of sleep, up and do it again, go install, get the kids, see them, get them down, and then work on the computer at night. That was pretty much how it ran for a couple weeks. Wow.
So when was that moment, or, what was that period of like, okay, something's got to change. This is a lot. Because at some point you hired an installer.
Yeah. I think Christmas pushed us over the edge that year is really, wouldn't you say?
Christmas and our bodies get tired. Summers are hot here, and it's like, man,
we're still very young.
Yeah. Do we really want to, keep doing it like this forever? It was good, when we were doing it, but we're like, do we want to do this all by ourselves, for the next 10 years? And then the answer was no. So we started hiring. And once we hired Mike, it was great. I mean, our whole business changed. Our whole concept outlook of everything changed. And then recently we hired another employee as well. So we have 2 full-time installers, and we kind of have quarterly goals where we're hoping to hire another full-time,
next couple months.
Yeah, another full-time employee in the next couple months as well. So,
okay. So your first one was a technician, then your second hire was a technician. Do you guys have an admin, or are you still doing that, Melissa?
That's still me now.
Okay.
But we did just bring on, I'm the admin, but we just brought on actually a friend of mine that I've known for 10 years. He lives in Florida. But he's been a huge asset. I'd almost call him more of like a business partner, even though he's not technically a business partner, I guess. But he's doing like all my marketing now, and he attends calls with me. I connected me with a bookkeeper, a friend of his, who's going to start doing my books. So I'm starting to kind of offload things, and we're really going through our whole business honestly with like a fine tooth comb right now is what we're really doing. Like we're redesigning everything and just kind of going back through the process that we have, and he's making them exponentially better and smoother. So is he technically an admin? I don't know. I don't even know what his title would be. He's like a jack of all trades for us right now. But he's been a huge saving grace for us. And I feel like taking us to like the next step of growth that we're trying to get to.
I think a lot of people in that phase of going from like do everything yourself to like handing it off, there's a lot of fear of like,
oh yeah,
can I find someone? And then even when people do find them, they're not really good at like training, like recruiting, training, managing. Like what are some of the things that you guys have done to make sure that handoff? I mean, if someone stayed with you a year, you're obviously doing something right, because some people can't keep someone for 6 weeks,
Well, I think, we treat them really well. We treat them like family. We've always treated them that way from day one. Our training is very slow. We're trying to get that better. But we went through everything, repetition. Hey, this is the way we do it. When it was just Melissa and I in the field, we had an expectation of how every job should look. So, explaining that out, getting worksheets and check sheets to keep everything just a little more organized, to where it just becomes more of a routine, but we still have those checklists to make sure we're hitting those and every customer is getting that same experience.
I think that's what we're working on now too. I wouldn't say we were the best at having everything laid out. And that's one thing at the expo we were at. We got a lot of listening to Kenny Kaufman talk, and he was talking about, build a business that you can sell even if you never plan to. And we're like, wow, we're really not doing that yet. It's that like the whole business has been in our brain for 4 years. We really need to get stuff out of our heads and make it reproducible. So if we do want to open another location or sell it one day or whatever the future may hold. So that's something that DJ is really helping us do. We're doing SOPs. We're making training videos right now. We're really trying to hone in on that so that we aren't mad at our employees if they don't do some things. I'm like, well, he'll come home like, not mad. Our employees are amazing. They really are. But like something silly happens. I can't even think of an example right now. And I'm like, well, did you teach him that? Did you ever tell him that's what you wanted to? It's the trailer stocking thing. The trailer's never put back the right way. And I'm like, did you ever actually walk them in there and say, this is how everything needs to look at the end of the day or whatever, So we're working on that. I would say it's probably an area that need some more growth in, but we're addressing it now for sure.
Yeah. Well, honestly, just having the ability to recognize that is huge because, I'm guilty of it too. We all are. We just expect everyone to have our same level of passion and common sense. And it's like, well, at some point we didn't know how the trailer was organized like that either. You know what I mean? Like it became that way over a series of repetitions and experiences and stuff like that. So it truly is like working with these people, making sure they understand just not what to do, but why it's so important.
Right.
Like, because if they understand the why, they're like, oh, so that it also saves us an hour a day. And then if it saves us an hour a day, then we can do this. And then it means I can make more money. Oh, heck yeah. I'll do that.
And we tried to include them in those conversations. Like we just did a review for Mike and we asked him, this is where we see an area of improvement. How can we help you do that? What are we missing? What do you need? And he's like, oh, actually, it was something simple like a cart. They wanted like a cart to pull the tool down. And I'm like, I'll just go get you one. That's fine. So it's like, ask them and then actually follow through with it. Let them be included, not just making we don't have to make all the decisions. They can be part of the decision-making process. So they feel a little bit more ownership of the company and, hey, what tools are you missing? Hey, what did you need? What was not okay this week? Or what could we have done better? And they'll tell us, and then
what
we'll
would
fix
make
it.
the job easier for
So,
you?
and it's like little silly. I was actually literally looking up like incentives for employees or just like motivators and stuff. And like you said, we try to make them family, like buy them lunch every now and then. We'll give them like cash. That's called a tip, or however you want to word it, bonuses at the end of the week if we had a great week. I made them like a snack bag that I keep in the trailer that I refill every week for them now. Just like little silly things, but it just to show like, hey, you are appreciated. Because yes, we're paying them obviously, and pay them well. They're worth it. You know, if you want to keep somebody, pay them well, they'll stay. But it's more than that. You know, I mean, you got to make them invested in
Feel
it too.
included, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
totally
another
agree.
good thing, we kind of have like a group chat where we
Yeah.
will send, you know, pictures of jobs, or, you know, kind of send funny jokes or whatever. It's kind of brought us all a little closer together too, which has been nice.
Is that on just text, or do you guys use a specific thing for that?
That's just
Text.
on text, but yeah.
Well, I realized they never see the nighttime. Like they never get to see the reveal. They never get to see the fruit of the labor. Like they're installing it all, and then John goes and gets to see the customer at night and reveal it all. And so they're kind of missing that connection. So I'm like, well, I think they probably want to see what they're doing. So now we text them all the time. And if a customer says like a positive, hey, you know, Kate was super pumped, you know, he said how nice you guys were, whatever. Here's the pictures, great job. And it just kind of like, we do appreciate you. You are included in the whole process, not just put the lights in the ground and leave.
And it's also been a good learning tool for us too, because we can say, hey, you know, this is why we put the light in this position. This is the effect we got. This is why we did it. So they can see that. So it's not just, oh, put a light exactly where I'm putting a flag, right? Now they understand why. So I think it's been a good growing thing for them as well too.
Yeah, I love that. Well, if you guys could go back, like, if you could go back a few years, are there any things that you would have done differently? Would you have done things sooner? Would you have waited on certain things? Like, what are some of those? If you could go back a few, I love these questions. What if you could go back? What would you do?
Change it all. No.
We always wait till
Start a roofing business.
Don't think I haven't talked about it.
Another business, yeah.
We talk about that all the time. Hiring earlier,
Yeah.
I think we both say for sure.
For
I
sure,
would have
hiring
waited
earlier.
a lot less time to hire somebody.
Yeah, we were always scared, and we always waited till we absolutely needed to.
Never felt like we could afford it. You know,
Yeah.
obviously the finances scary. You know, scary having to be responsible for somebody else's paycheck.
We've never hired and filled a position and like, man, I really wish we didn't do that. Or, you know, something always gets easier. It frees something up. So that's been great in our experience.
Yeah.
Anywhere from, you know, install techs to, you know, the new admin back of the house, however you want to call it, keeping us on target, on schedules. We're really good at hitting goals or checking off to-do lists. So he kind of builds those, and, you know, we give him an idea where we want to be and build a plan to get there. And, you know, it makes it easier and makes us grow faster.
Hire people smarter than you earlier on.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best advice I would give somebody new starting out. I wish I had brought in more like business-minded people, maybe more marketing people in the beginning. You know, at the start, I feel like we're kind of redoing everything now, which is fine, but we could have saved ourselves a lot of headache and time if we had brought in other people earlier on.
Got it. Well, so now that you guys have bought back some of your time, you know, you're out of the field. I think, John, you said you like, you know, maybe lay out the guys and stuff like that, but you're not the one trenching and burying the wire and stuff like that, of course. But now with some of this time that you bought back, what has changed about your daily routines and maybe your vision and some of the tasks that you're working on now?
Yes, we definitely kind of implied that 10-80-10 rule, where I get the guys set up. And then a lot of my day consists now of, we use Company Cam now, which has been great for organization for us. So while I'm doing my sales meeting, or maybe I'll kind of work in Company Cam and get our designs, get our layouts, how we're going to run wires. So it makes it easier for our crews to efficiently install these landscape lighting systems. So that's been huge for me. And then working on sales always, we're always constantly working on that, working on our presentations. And just like Melissa said, you know, we're kind of going back through fine tuning everything to make us look a little bit better, brand consistency. Our marketing has been next level in the last 3 months.
I've had a lot of meetings.
Yeah, working on.
I've met with like every vendor, like you said, you know, we don't always take advantage of all the vendors that you connect us with, but I've been meeting with most of them, you know, throughout the last couple of months, and just we signed up with Sengym. We have a great deal, by the way, if everybody doesn't know that, with Sengym. So we're doing those now, the neighbor mailers and stuff. So just branching out and definitely spending more on marketing now, realizing, you know, that we're ready to push for more of the leads, like you were saying at the beginning of the show. I totally agree with you because everyone's always like, I need leads. I'm like, but can you close them? Like, that's why I tell other business. I'm like, but if you get a lead, can you close it? Because if not, then stop trying to get the leads because they're useless to you at that point. So I totally agree with that. I feel like we really worked on operations. We really worked on the sales process, which I feel like is really honed in. And now we're like really focusing and dumping it on the marketing hardcore.
Nice. Well, and that's kind of the key to everything. Like if you can, like the Dan Kennedy quote, like if you can afford to spend the most to acquire the customer, then you almost have like an unlimited marketing budget. There isn't a budget. You're not restricted. It's just a matter of like, how much do you actually want? Because you could get enough business to do $3 million, but can your sales team handle that? Can your installation team, like now the budget is a different number. It's just like, whoa, we got to like not do that much. So, I guess that kind of leads me to, and I do want to ask you guys like what you guys are doing for marketing, but now that you have time, I feel like to think now, you have time to like get more intentional and like, you're not just working to like pay the bills anymore. You're like, okay, we caught our breath. Like this feels good. Like, what do we really want? Like, have you guys had those conversations? Like what does the next couple of years look like for you? And how has that changed since buying back your time and kind of developing that vision?
We actually finally had that conversation recently, honestly, when we brought DJ on, because I feel like that was one of our downfalls or something that's always been a struggle for us is making decisions. Like it's just the two of us. So it's like always a 50-50 and we'll talk something to the grave and then at the end of the night still not have a decision made on it or be too scared to like pull the trigger on it. So we just keep doing the same circle all the time. And I think that's why it took 3 years to hire someone. We're like, well, do we want to? Well, maybe we do want to. Maybe we don't want to. Maybe we should keep it us. Maybe we should not have this at all. Like, I mean, this was like a 3-year conversation, literally. So no, we finally, made a 5-year plan of what we want our business to ultimately look like in 5 years from now. And then we went through with DJ and reverse engineered it back. So now we have it broken into quarters for the next 5 years of how to get to where we decided we wanted to be. And then each quarter we have like weekly to-dos that we meet for like 3 hours every week with him. And we come up with weekly to-do plans. And if it doesn't get us towards one of those rocks, it's not on the to-do list. Like you can't, because I'm very good about wasting my time doing other little tasks. So I can say I did a whole bunch of things today, but if they're not like getting us towards that 5-year goal, then I'm just wasting my time. So it's really just like laser focusing in on that actual plan finally that we finally agreed on and made.
Sticking to it.
It seems like the easiest part. Like, what do you mean you don't know what you want to? But that was like the hardest thing was I don't know. Well, what do we want? I don't know what I want to look like in 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people are like that, myself included. And so I think the advice I have is like, just pick a target.
Yes.
You don't have to like, it reminds me when we were moving back from Texas to Utah, I just sold my lighting business. We're like, where are we going to live? And it was like, well, I don't know. We could live here. We could live there. It was like, there's a lot of options. And I finally was like, we're just going to live here. And if we don't like it, we'll move. You know what I mean? So like you pick a target, you start heading that direction. And then you go, whose idea was this? Is this John's idea? This is crazy. We're not doing this. This is dumb, right? You can always change. You don't, you're not like married to it. Like you in a marriage, you can't change. Sorry, guys. But like in this target, you can change. You know what I mean? So, and you don't know until you start moving toward it if it feels right or off. So I always just tell people like, just pick a target. And so if you guys take the feeling that you have now, you just did that. You picked a target, you reverse engineered it. You have that feeling of like, wow, we actually have like direction and intention and all this. Imagine that feeling. And then go back a couple of years when you were just working to work. Talk about those feelings, like compare and contrast that. Like, what did you feel like before? How do you feel now?
Definitely defeated before. Honestly, I feel like you just feel like you're in a hamster wheel. And like we said, late nights and never ended. There was never an end in sight. And we're like, this is how we're just going to die. It's just working and sweating to death and, trying to just check off the to-do list for the day all the time.
Keep going,
it was just like there was no long-term vision at all, which it's defeating, honestly. I mean, it was working. Like you said, the bills were paid. So to me, there's money in the bank. We're doing great. But that really wasn't us doing great looking back. We thought we were at the time, but now looking back at it, I'm like, we were a hot disaster trying to do all these things.
Yeah, now it feels much more organized.
Much calmer at the house.
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome.
Less marriage tension. I'd say it's been better for our marriage for sure, actually having a forward-looking goal here.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It's just a breath of fresh air. It feels to me when I've been in both sides of that too. It just like it's a feeling of freedom, and it's a feeling of like hey, like we control our own destiny now. We know if we do these steps this month, this quarter, this year, that we're going to get to this point. And then we do that for 3 years, 5 years, we're going to be at that point. And like now that's achievement. And when that's when I always talk about like surviving and thriving. I feel like before you guys were like doing a great job surviving, like probably surviving better than most, but you were still surviving. You know,
For
it
sure.
wasn't an accomplishment. It was like, we didn't die today.
Yeah, literally. That's how we felt.
We didn't file bankruptcy. We didn't get divorced. Now it's like, oh
winning.
no, this is winning. That's awesome. Good way to describe it.
Yeah, no, definitely a whole mindset shift happens. There's no doubt about it. Just where, like I said, we're probably a little slower to get there just because it took us long to decide what we wanted, I think.
It was a good learning curve too, because we learned how the business should go. Now we're learning how the business operates, and we feel more like business owners now for sure. I mean, than just working in the field, grinding every day. Now we have a plan. We have, multiple jobs out there, multiple trucks out there. People see our brand. It really does feel like more of a legit business now.
What are you guys doing? You guys got you bought back your time. Now you've got this plan to get to certain size or whatever. What are you guys doing for marketing? Are you doubling down on existing strategies at work? Are you going to try some new ones that you've got some uncertainty about? Like what's kind of the plan with marketing?
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place doing different things. We've always done the basics of yard signs and door tags. I say it every time because people forget about those, and we get so much business off door tags and yard signs to this day.
And the truck and trailer.
Honestly, I'd say those are probably our 3 like top finds right now because we always ask, and a lot of times it's that they've seen our truck or trailer or whatnot. And then we're doing Senja mailers. We're just doing like the neighbor mailer they have there, which is awesome. So it ties in with Jobber. We use Jobber for CRM. So anytime an invoice is paid or a job's closed, which how I have it triggered, there's like a 3-drip postcard that goes out to the 15 closest neighbors of that house. So we're using that, which I think that's kind of a long game, right? I know like direct mail, you can't try it for a month and say it works or doesn't work. So we just started that maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So I can't really tell you if it's amazing or not yet. We're in it for the long haul and we'll let you know. But that's kind of a new thing. We put some money in. We have Google ads running always. I have a really good website team who I love my website team. So they kick butt on my SEO. And then we've got DJ coming in doing all of our like posting, Facebook, Instagram. We're working on creating some more YouTube videos. He's doing like LinkedIn, Pinterest board. He's doing all these different social platforms as well. What am I missing?
Seems like the marketing mix. That was a lot.
Yeah. We're not doing any like Facebook ads or anything. We do that for Christmas usually, but I don't know. We've never had success with the meta ads for landscape lighting, but we'll do them for Christmas.
Okay, cool. So when you guys mention yard signs and door hangers, which I love, by the way, because it's the like simple, easy stuff that most people just forget because it's almost too simple. Are you guys, let's talk about the yard signs. Is that just on completed projects, or are you guys doing bandit signs? Are you putting signs everywhere every week? Like what's the strategy there?
So for example, on a job, first thing we'll put a yard sign in the yard, so everybody sees it. We'll do 7 houses around in every direction with door tags. And then yard signs, if we're in that neighborhood, we'll have a yard sign outside of that neighborhood, hopefully, right? And then on bigger intersections, areas that we want to go in, maybe once a month we'll take a day, put some yard signs out. We're not, putting out thousands, but in areas, targeted areas that we want to be in front of neighborhoods that we do a lot of work in, where they see our trucks. Every time they pull in their neighborhood, if they can see our sign, we just want to be first on their mind. Okay, very cool. And then the door tags, you said it's just the 7 nearest homes from the project you're doing? 7 in every direction as we usually do. So, but it's not just on any time you're at a house. I mean, if he goes for a maintenance, if we're doing maintenance on a house, door tagging the whole neighborhood, you're door tagging the 7x7 again. So anytime our guys, like that's on their checklist, number 1 on any visit they're doing, they're responsible to door tag everybody. Yeah, it truly is consistency. I used to get so frustrated because I would show up and just spot check a job and I'd be like, oh my gosh, where's the yard sign, guys? Right? Yeah. It's the littlest things, but they work. They really work. They're so important. And it was nice. He was recently on a call or on a sales meeting, and
he asked somebody how they found out about us too. He always double checks, and she's like, everywhere. She's like, I see you guys everywhere. What do you mean? She's like, you're all over the place. And we're like, yes, we did it. We're there. We're everywhere. So like, I post in like the moms pages. Every Facebook, town I feel like has 10 moms pages you can join. So I join those, and I slip in a little business thing in there every now and then. They always have like a business posting day. Getting on those are really helpful, and they're free. It's a free way to post. And then we're working on the referral partner. We just did lights for a pool builder recently. So we're working on, building that relationship. And then we just met with is he the HOA president? No, what is his title in Terabella? One of the neighborhoods right next door that we do a lot of work in. We met with like the head HOA approval guy the there.
Building and grounds director.
Yeah.
But that's a huge first
referring us now. So I think that's kind of our next focus, is just keep up on the referral partner relationships.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, like when I started the podcast, I was talking about like customer lifetime value. Like if you literally can afford, and I know it sounds crazy, like if I said, I'll give you this $10,000, project, but you need to give me $3,000. I mean, that seems like a lot of money, because it's like, dang, that's 30%. That's more than we are going to make on this thing. Like, why would I do that? Well, the reason you would do it, the reason you wouldn't do it is because if it was just one job, then it would be a bad decision. Right. But if you do the things that you guys are doing, and you're putting out the door tags, the yard signs, then all of a sudden you get like someone sees that door hanger. Now it goes from 30% down to 15%, because you can, do them. If let's say it's another $10,000 job,
right?
Now you can divide that. And then let's say it's like, oh, well, then also you got a referral because you have that built into your system. Now it goes to just 10% per each one. So the math can work out, but you have to be really, really good on those back end marketing things to make it work. Otherwise, it's 30% and you're going to go bankrupt quick, right?
Yeah. It's true. Like the whole cliche, like spend money to make money or whatever is true. And that was hard for us in the beginning. It's like, it's a hard pill to swallow when you see a lot of money pumping out, but it does come back. You have to just kind of trust the process, and you have to be willing to do it.
And that consistency, we were actually it's funny you brought up the lifetime value, because we had this customer that we've done our Christmas lights for about 4 years, but I originally met her for landscape lights. Never got the job. It was a back dock. She had just moved in. We ended up following up with her for Christmas lights. We got her Christmas lights the first year. The next year, she had her Christmas lights again. She bought her uncle's Christmas lights as well. Next year, she bought her lights, her uncle's Christmas lights, and the neighbor's Christmas lights. And we did landscape lights on the front of her house. We added on to the front of her house. We ended up doing her commercial seafood buildings. And then we went back and did her backyard. And now we're going back to put audio in. So talk about a lifetime value of a customer right there. I mean, from a simple, I think it was like an $1,100 Christmas light job to, I mean,
a big client.
That was a big client.
That's such a good example, because I found the reason you guys have been in secrets long enough to know how we kind of divided up, how it went from like everyone in the same program to now it's like Spark, and then Ignite, Luminary, and stuff like that. And the reason was because like I speak so much on profitability and raise your price, but like there's a time and a place, because like if you are slow, I mean, if you're booked out like 8 weeks, then yeah, raise your price, you know what I mean? But if you're slow and you can't, like you're desperate, you need a job, like you might need to lower it and maybe break even just to get that job. Like you take that lady, for example, if you tried to make like all your money, all your profit on that one very first Christmas light job, and then she decides to say no, you just like lost tens of thousands of dollars, And so it's really being like intentional about who you're working with and when it makes sense to do these things. And I don't know what you charged her originally, but my point is some people are trying to like squeeze out, they'll listen to a podcast like this and be like, oh, I got to make profit on every job. And I'm like, yeah, that's the goal. But like, if you have to like negotiate and do less because you understand what your average lifetime customer value is, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you might just make less on that person, but sometimes it might be that lady who ends up buying her neighbor's lights and her business lights and everything else.
It's so true. And I think some people, like, we do get so stuck sometimes in like price per fixture, but it's not that simple. And I don't think you have to pick a price and stick to it, like you said, every day or every time. Like he'll be at a meeting and be like, hey, this is like a really nice new neighborhood. We're not in this community yet. Let's like knock a little bit down. We need to make sure we get this job. Even if we don't make quite as much on this one, I'm like, absolutely, I'm fine with that. Let's do it. Get in that door. So then we're, again, door tagging. We're in a new community that we want to start taking over. We're going to put a sign at the front of the community. We're going to do all those things. The mailers are going to get direct mailed now 3 times. It's going to be worth it. So like, you kind of have to be able to flex the pricing, I think, on a, not always, but on a case-by-case basis to some point, depending on the situation. Obviously you need to like an average or know where you can't go below to totally bankrupt yourself all the time. But there are definitely times where it's well worth it to not make a whole lot on a job if you see the future value of it.
Well, and I think it was at the last Secret Summit. I think it was Jimmy Tompkins talking about this. He's talking about once you understand like what your daily overhead is, let's say it's, $2,500 or whatever. Some people, if you go into like a Facebook group, just any of the lighting Facebook groups today, and someone asks a question, I've seen this question 100 times. What would you guys do in this situation? This customer, I told them it's 10,000. They said, I'll do it if it's 6,000. Everyone's like, next, not your customer. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I would be like, what if you could get it for 7,000, 8,000, because like, we don't know enough information. Like, what if I would be willing to, the people go, oh, I could sit home and not make any money. Well, that's not true. Like if I have a business that the overhead is $2,500 a day, then I need to at least cover as much of that as possible. So I'd rather lose like $200 today than $2,500. You know what I mean? So there is a time and a place for those things. And I think it's hard because you listen to a podcast, join a group, Facebook group, whatever it is. And blanket advice works for certain things, but you really need to get specific on where you're at in your business, what your goals are, what you're trying to do. So I love the idea of, like you said, like, hey, if I have to come down on a price to break into this neighborhood, because I understand the value of customer lifetime value and what we're going to do on the back end to recoup that fee, no problem at all.
Yeah. I think too, one thing we're working on is more of offering like a rebate for them doing something for us. So what I mean by that, I know, like, for example, I will never forget this. We met with a sales guy one time for a new roof, which we didn't end up getting in Indiana. And he started the price at like $30,000 or $40,000. I don't remember. It was something like that. And then at the end of the night, he's like, well, we can get it down to 16,000. I'm like, how in the world did we just cut this? Like you were trying to charge me 40 in case I'd say yes, but you can actually still only charge me 16. Like I was like, you're so shady, get out of my house. Like, it made me so mad. So I've always thought of that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to say, your package is 10, but okay, fine, I'll do it for 5. Because to me, I'm like, wait a minute, you were trying to charge me what? And you can still do it. So there's like a, yes, we can come down, but only so far, but we'll do it more of like
we asked for something.
Right. Like we'll give you a rebate afterwards. If you do X, Y, and Z, join our Facebook, post your personal page, post the 3 moms groups or whatever, like build this package up. Like if you do all these things that you prove that are done, I'll give you $1,000 rebate because I know that that's so valuable in marketing when it comes from their personal page. Or, you have to do a yard sign for this many days, or a referral.
Give us a referral.
Referrals give everybody, we always give people credit if they give us a referral. Yeah. But maybe think about building it that way instead of just like, oh, I'll just knock off a couple grand, just because.
Right.
Don't necessarily do that all the time. But
I love it because it
trade-off.
It's part of the negotiation strategy. You want them to feel like they have to work for it. And then you're like, hey, well, the only way I can do this, I always lead with my best price, but I've got a marketing budget. If you'll be my marketing budget for the next couple of weeks and do the yard sign, the testimonial, the post in the next door, then we can do that. But I definitely got to have those things done.
Yeah, that's why there's a rebate. They got to
give you $5,000 off. Like what the heck?
It's never going to be that. But as long as they're doing something, because it is very valuable if somebody posts on their personal page
and tags
and tags our business, and we get more audience, more followers. Like that's big for us.
Yep,
that's huge. Well, I love what you guys are doing because again, like. If you paid someone $1,000 to go do that, to post on their thing, and then you got a job out of it, it might be like, oh my gosh, like they got $1,000. We're barely going to make $1,000 on this thing. And we have the risk and the insurance and the warranty and all this stuff. But like I'm going to do a yard sign. I'm going to do the send gem. I'm going to do the door tags. We're going to ask for referrals. So it's okay. We're going to get 2 more jobs out of it. It's like the best $1,000 you're going to invest.
A lot of angles for sure.
Have you guys noticed that your average ticket has gone up over time because of some of these things?
Yeah, it's almost doubled. Actually, we were just calculating that recently, and it's almost doubled from 2 years ago. I think I was looking at from 2 years ago to now.
What would you attribute that to mostly? Is it the clients you're meeting with, your process? Like what changed?
I think we raised prices for sure. We are more confident charging more than we used to be.
I think we look a lot more professional too from our whole sales process. So we add a lot more value. We really try to educate them and what makes us different than any other, landscape company coming up, putting the same light everywhere. The design aspect of it. We're not really selling fixtures. We're selling a whole experience. giving that value to the customers to a point to where it's harder for them to say no now, I think. And we're designing complete jobs where a lot of companies won't. And
you're doing renderings too.
Yeah, we do some renderings here and there, and following up better. If we have to we don't love doing demos, but it comes with the territory. Every once in a while we'll do one. Closing rates usually much better on that. We usually sell more lights when we do those. But yeah, all the little steps and processes have I
think the professionalism's been a lot of it, honestly. Like we have like a like the high quality leave behind. Like we have a folder with a bunch of information that we leave with every client. So we just kind of, I think the confidence too, honestly, you just learn over time. Like I think you've become a super great salesman walking in. And the price marinade works. I've gotten bolder about giving them a price marinade on the phone ahead of time, which has helped because I used to hate doing it and I wouldn't do it. And then he'd yell at me because I didn't do it.
Because you can tell.
I might be the cause of breaking up marriages. Is that, wow.
That was like probably the biggest area because she's like, you didn't do it again.
I could tell at the meeting. I'm like, you didn't do it. They have no idea.
Yeah, I make myself do it and I do it on every call.
That's hilarious. You didn't do it. I could tell.
Yeah, no, he would. He'd be so mad. He's like, couldn't close it. I sticker shocked him again. I'm like, whoops.
Another thing that really works.
Why is that so hard, by the way?
I don't know. I don't know why and I'm on the phone. It's not like they can even see me, but I like this weird phobia of like giving somebody a number on the phone. I don't have any logical explanation for it all, Ryan. I just hated doing it.
No, I'm not trying. This isn't about you. Like it's hard for everybody. And I'm just trying to kind of tap into your brain right now because I'm like,
I'm afraid of like their reaction. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it was that. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. It is. Like I didn't know how to like respond, I guess, well enough. Yeah. When the objection would come. But the funny thing is I rarely get anyone that says anything back. They're like, okay. Like they just want a number. Like they're more relieved. I think that at least I got a number to think about. I rarely ever have anyone be like, oh, never mind. That's too much. I don't know. Maybe one.
But I think that is the fear. It's like, well, because I don't want to like give them a negative reaction and we're going to go meet with them.
When I want to book them, like I wanted in the beginning, I'm like, we got to get every meeting. And he's like, stop sending me to pointless meetings. And I'm like, just go. Maybe you'll just lose them over and they'll fall. And he's like, they don't match.
Like you could sell anyone. Get out there, John.
It's fine. And then I think, you learn and you grow up in your business and you realize that that's just a waste of everybody's time. So now I don't mind doing it because if I scare them off, I'm okay with it. Like if I scared you off, we were probably never going to close it anyway. So it's okay, but it's very rare. Maybe one or two I can think of that were like, oh, never mind. Because they thought it was like $500. Like they were thinking they were getting like Gobi lights,
Yeah.
So, but otherwise they're like, oh, okay.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Well, we can go ahead and wrap up. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys jumping on here. This is just cool to like be part of this little tiny speck of your journey. But if you could go and give people advice, someone who like the best thing I found is so rewarding. And you guys even just offered up to a couple members in Landscape Lighting Secrets, like, hey, if you guys want to come and just see what we're doing, we're not, like the people that know everything, but if you guys want to come. So I know you guys understand this, but it's so fun to just reach back into your past and grab someone that's like a chapter behind you or 2 chapters behind and be able to help them. What would some advice, as we wrap up, like what would be some of that advice you would give them to someone who's a couple chapters behind?
I would say just make a decision and go with it. Whether if it's the right decision or not the right decision, you don't know that yet. You got to just move. Stop being stagnant in waiting to make a final decision. You have to make the decision and then look at the data and determine if it was the right decision or not. You can't keep being wishy-washy about things. So just jump and say, today I'm going to charge this, whatever it is, whatever decision in your business you're stuck on, just pick one, pick away and roll with it. And you can always switch it later. We've switched a million times different things. But we would be farther faster if we could just make decisions and roll with them instead of overthinking everything.
And then definitely just don't be scared to do something. You'll figure it out. Get out there, do it, get your hands dirty. You might not get it the first time, but you're going to learn so much doing it. And then the next time you do it, it's going to be easy. But just, and I know some people get so scared of doing, certain things. Yeah. If it makes you nervous, just keep going.
There's that song. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. We literally sing that to each other all the time.
It's a song?
Yeah, I don't even know who sings it now. I can't think of the name, but look up, if it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. You'll find the song, listen to it. It's like our family motto. Sing it with our kids. And
I love it.
True. Like it's true for life. I think it started more for dirt bikes, but it actually transfers to business.
That's awesome.
But it's a good little motto to have for your company too. If it scares you, hiring scary, spending money on marketing scary, all that stuff makes you nervous. You should probably be doing it, you know?
Well said. Well, I'm a fan of the Kujawskis. Thank you guys so much for being on here. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, honestly, you're inspiring me. You're inspiring, I know, a bunch of others in the community. So thank you guys so much for being part of the program. Thank you for coming on the show today, and wish you guys the best. For you guys listening, we got some good gold nuggets today. So make sure you guys implement. The Kujawskis are doing an amazing job, but it's because they're implementing and they're taking action, and they're literally living their own advice that they gave today. So get out there and make it happen. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, guys, keep moving forward. Go take action. And what was the song again?
If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it.
Love it. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. See you guys.
Bye.